Tim Rogers reporting with the Farm News Media team, and today we're out with our Fall Cab Cam series sponsored by Tri-County Equipment, and have the opportunity to be with Dave Rupprecht of Zwerk and Sons. Thanks for letting me stop out and talk to you.
Absolutely, glad to have you.
So tell us what we're doing in the fields today.
Well, today we're clipping black beans, which is a dry edible bean. And this is actually our last field of dry beans, so hopefully with any luck today we will finish the 2020 dry bean season. So we've got about 200 acres left to harvest and we'll be done.
So on a typical year, would you guys be done by now for harvest of beans?
Boy, it really depends. You know, it depends what you call typical. Last year we were doing beans into November and even into December with some soybeans just because of the terrible weather. But normally, in a normal year, yes, middle of October, we like to be wrapping up with our dry bean crop.
Okay, awesome. Tell me a little bit about your farm and who's all involved, and a little bit about the farm.
Sure, yeah. Well, the farm was started in the 40s by my wife. Her grandfather, Arnold Zwerk, started the farm in Vassar. His two boys, Mike and Larry, farmed with him for a number of years. Larry is my father-in-law. That's how I fit into the picture. So it's myself and my two cousins, Jeff Schluckbeer and Marty Zwerk. We are the owners today and manage the farm today. We've got a couple young guys coming up. My son Tyler works with us here, and Marty's son Landon works with us as well. So we've got the next generation coming behind us. We farm about 7,500 acres between Vassar and Marlette, about 2,500 up here in the Marlette area, and the rest back in the Vassar area, Tuscola, Sanilac counties. We have about 17 employees that work for us full-time, and that's on the farm, and a trucking business we have as well. So full-time truck drivers, and we grow sugar beets, dry beans, 3 different classes of dry beans: navies, reds, blacks, wheat, corn, and then we also started dabbling in a little hemp last year. So.
Yeah. So for some of our viewers that may not know a lot about dry beans, this is kind of the mecca of dry beans for the state in the valley, and a lot of dry beans are grown around here, right?
Sure. In through the Saginaw Valley, it used to be probably the #1 production area for dry beans a number of years ago. Michigan in general is probably 2nd or 3rd in different classes, but in through the Saginaw Valley here, Huron County, Tuscola County, Saginaw County, and Bay, a lot of dry beans are grown. So yeah, that's one of our major crops here along with sugar beets.
So today we're harvesting, you said, black beans?
Yes. And
where will these black beans end up?
You know, most of our black beans get exported. Obviously, a lot of them go to Mexico and South America. That's where they're very favorable. They eat a lot of them down there. There are some that are eaten here locally or throughout the United States, but most of them will be exported.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you guys market those beans? Do you use a processor, or how do you do
Yeah,
that?
we typically contract with a couple different elevators. We use Star of the West is one of them that we use. ADM in Reese, they're a supplier for Bush Brothers. We use them as well. There's different elevators that work with different canners, and so we don't work directly. We sell to an elevator where they would process and sell to the end user.
Okay. How's the crop looking? How's the yields looking that you guys have harvested so far?
Yields this year have been very good, a little above average. The quality has been very good to above average, and so yield and quality this year has been spectacular. We're very happy with the crop we got this year compared to what it was last year. This year we had a little more favorable weather, got some later rains this summer to help fill them out, and so we've got a real good dry bean crop this year.
And it looks like they're pretty clean, not a lot of weeds.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, we had about 3,200 acres of dry beans total this year, and so we've always got some problem fields where we've got too much rain. We had some fields where we had some drowned out spots, which is pretty typical every year. But on average, everything looks pretty good, and yeah, the fields have been very clean. They were healthy this year, didn't have a lot of issues with white mold, which is typically a big issue in dry beans this year just because of the weather, so we were blessed with a real nice growing season.
Awesome.
Well, we've got 3 different combines. The one behind you there is new this year. It's a 2020 S780, so it's a Class 8 combine. We do run all draper heads versus an auger head, so that's a head with a belt on it instead of an auger. Just feeds very, very well. We like the way it feeds the crop into the machine. This machine here has a 45-foot head on it. The other 2 machines that are running behind us there, one is an S670 and an S680. So a couple little smaller machines. They have 40-foot heads on them, but very similar quality as far as, and also efficiency as far as harvesting.
You feel those draper heads are more tender on the crop, where you're not losing as much?
Absolutely. Very tender the way they feed. They also feed the crop in one position, makes the combine work better. It's not mixing it up before it gets into the combine. And allows us to probably start a little earlier and run a little later in the evenings when it gets a little tough. You're not worried about it wrapping as much around it like you would with an auger head. So very nice head for working in all conditions.
Okay. You know, Any downtime with these combines, or any service issues that you guys have dealt with?
You know, we have normal things like anybody else, but nothing major. All of these machines have been very, very reliable. The oldest one we have is a 2013 that has a couple thousand hours on it, and it runs right along just like the other machines do as well. So we spend a lot of time in the winter, in the off season, you know, going through our equipment, and so that's part of it. But the John Deere equipment is extremely reliable, that's for sure.
And I noticed that over there on your grain cart you got a 9RX. Tell us about the 9RX.
Yeah, we just picked up a couple of those 9620 RXs. So they're brand new. We've only run them a couple weeks. One hasn't even been run yet, so a lot of them are real low hours. So far the guys really like them. We had some other tractors similar to that. We just traded up to the RXs, and we really like them so far.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to see them run and watch you guys harvest. Thanks for letting us stop out today, and have a safe and bountiful harvest. And
absolutely.
Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for stopping. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.